Welcome everyone, today we have a new guide for Diablo 4. Now as you guys know, the beta is coming out and maybe it's already out for you. So what I want to do is, I want to go through the skill trees for all 5 of the classes and to give you guys maybe some suggestions to the best leveling method of the skill tree and also the stats. So what we'll do is, I already have built about 5 different skill trees for each of the class. But ideally, I want to go through each of the class live with you guys in the video and to show you my thoughts and also my theories as to where to perk certain skills. Maybe you can get faster actives, maybe you can go for more passives. So here I share some of my thoughts. And of course, if you guys have other plans and also other builds, let me know in the comments as well. So getting into the video. One thing you do want to notice is with each level ups, you also have skills or points allocation of your stats. What I recommend is going with your primary stats first. So if your primary stats for Barbarian is Strength, your primary stats for Sorcerer is going to be Intelligence and Dexterity for the Rogue. You can go a build that is 1 to 4 or maybe 4 to 1 or maybe 5 to 1 or even just everything into Strength. What I mean that for Barbarian is you can go into, I'll get a little note to show you guys, you can go into maybe 5 points in STR and 1 point in Dexterity for the critical rate. Now if you want more damage, you can go for all the points into STR, or you can go for 4 to 1. So what I mean by that is your allocation of your points for the fastest leveling should ideally go into more of the damage skills, because at the start of the game, you won't be doing a lot of critical strike. Now coming over to my suggestion for the rogue build. We do have a melee rogue build as well. I'll include that in the description below for you guys to see as well. But the path through this one is I'll go with a range rogue build, which is said to be quite strong in the beta. We'll be going with Fire Barrage, and also we'll be going with all the other actives that allows us to have mobile movement and also more mobility and also more damage. And finally we'll perk into the Clone, Shadow Clone for the ultimate. Now you'll see us having 28 of the skill points. 3 skill points are coming from the Reno, and this is coming from the first zone. You can get this pretty early in the game as you clear out the content. So going live with a rogue, what I recommend is, I recommend going with a range rogue to feel how it feels. If you don't like the range rogue, it's okay to swap as well. Notice after 2 points, you can perk right away. So make sure you perk into Barrage on level 3. After that, make sure you get those nice passives and also nice bonuses. If you're not critical hitting a lot, I recommend going with vulnerability for now. Our goal is to go further onto the agility section. So here I have about how many points? I have about 5 points in, and here I can come back for some of the passives. And here I think I'll go with additional seeking enemies. And notice that after poking 6 points, this opens up. So here I want more actives. And what I want is, I want some form of disengagement for my range rogue. If you're melee rogue, you go differently. So here I go with some passives to take more damage, and here I'll increase the critical chance. Notice I start to have critical chance, and then I can come back over here for more barrage skills. Keep in mind that as you level up barrage, the next part opens up. So you want as many active spells as you can. Now over here, I do recommend going with concealment for the movement speed bonus, and then going for the increase of energy, and then I recommend going with the vulnerability. You can go with 100% critical strike as well, so this is your preference, because we already have vulnerability. So let's go into the critical strike. Notice the next section opens up in 2 more points. We're already level 15. So coming back over here, now there are some nice spells that Barrage is currently only level 3. We can go to Barrage level 5 now, and then we open up another active spell. So I'll go with Shadow Imbuement for the increase of vulnerability. So here we have another vulnerability to enemy. This is level 20. I need a few more skills to get to the ultimate. So here what I want is, I want critical hit that give us movement. And this will take us to level 23. And notice I will 100% critical hit with the concealment, which is quite nice. And finally we have 1 more point. You can go almost everything. And what I do is I can just go with Imbue Spirit that increase critical chance. You can do it differently as well. So here I'll get my Shadow Clone, get the ultimate, and this will take me to level 27. And finally I can go for more crits, or I can go for the casting my ultimate gives me energy. So this is a quick rundown for the rogue, and I think this will help you to move faster and also to kill monster faster for the early game and level faster. Now do keep in mind, there is a nice passive over here if you're critical hitting. If you're not critical hitting, you can go for more damage passives as well. And this allows us to go with the fastest core skill for the activation and also spend resource. Now again, if you guys do want to play a melee rogue, I'll have the skill tree for you guys for the melee rogue for the early beta. So coming over my recommendations for the sources. I want to go with the Fire Sorcerer because it seems to have the most raw damage, and this will help you level up faster. We go with Firebolt, and we'll go with level higher into Firebolts as well. I've got to pick this out, adjust this after for you guys. This won't be level 32, right? And of course you go with Teleport, and you go with some of the nice passives like Glass Cannon. And you come over to Hydra, and then you go into some of the other skill points when you have them. I'll adjust this as I go with you guys. And for Mastery, we'll go with Firewall for more burn damage. Finally, we'll go with Inferno for the ultimate. So let's go through this together. So let's go with sources. So we go with Firebolt, and then we go Firebolt persist enemies. So this opens up the core. I'll go with Firebolt, not Firebolt. Firebolt's over here. So it's Fireball, and then we go with the increase of the bear damage as direct damage. Notice we have more points. I'll come back over here that we'll go with the generation of mana, because at the start you want more mana. You won't be critical hitting a lot. So coming over here, now we're level 7 sorcerer, keep that in mind. So I want to go with Teleport, and also I might go with Flame Shield. You can activate selective mode on to get more active spells. And this way I might go with cooldown reduction, and here with the Flame Shield I'll go with a movement speed increase. And then after that we can go with a reduction of the mana cost. So this opens up to the next section. At this time I want more active spells. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So with the Hydra activated, we go with some of the perks to the Hydra, and additional burn is also not bad. We won't be critical hitting a lot. At this point, I can come back into leveling up my core spell. You can level your core spell a little earlier as well, keep that in mind. So around level 17, level 18, come over to Masteries and go into Firewall, and we get the perks over here as well. We can also get the additional mana regeneration if you need it, or you can go with more burning. And here we're level 21, right? So we come back over here, finish off with the core, and we have a few more points. We can go with Glass Cannon. You can go with 2 levels of Glass Cannon, and this will take you to level 24. So here I'll go with Inferno and all of its passives, and this will be 27. Now you can go with higher levels Inferno, which is like recently changed, or you can finish off Glass Cannon. And that's what I'll do with sources. So hopefully you guys can follow through with this one, and this will help us to get most actives, most spells out, and the ability to cast more spells. Now do keep in mind, now here I have perked into both of the Flame Shield and also Teleport. I can reset those of course, because I have now 7 active spells, right? Some of those can go into enchantment like the Firewall, or maybe with the Firebolts. I can go with those as enchantment to explode and also deal more damage. Now here, depending which one you like the most, if you don't want the Flame Shield, then go with Teleport, and make sure you reset for more skill points, because we did go into additional skill points, active spells for this one, so just keep that in mind. Now do be careful, as you reset those, these things will change. So what I mean by that is, so notice here, as you reset those points, right, the whole tree will change a little bit, but make sure you have enough points, and it should be okay. Now coming over to the Necromancer. As for the Necromancer, and also for the Book of the Dead, right? So the Book of Dead, what I want to do is I want additional Skirmisher, and also I want that my Shadow Mage have more attacks. As for the Golem, I want the Golem to be joining life on nearby enemies. So those will be some of my focus for the Book of the Dead. And I guess this way we can get a little more out of the damage, and it's the focus of dealing a little more damage for ourselves. So this will be my focus. So this will be the tree that I go with for the Book of the Dead. And as for the choice of spells, I go with 1 point in Decompose and also 1 point in Blight. We can go with higher points in Blight, of course, later on. And don't worry, this won't be 32 as well. We go with 1 point into Corpse Explosion and some passives into the minions. So leveling up the minions is actually not bad for the early game. So 3 points into Skeletons and also some points into Decrypify and more points into the Skeleton Mages. Finally, we can come over here to the Bone Spirit if you have the spare points, and coming finally to the Army of the Dead and also its upgrades. So let's go through the skill tree together for the Necromancer. We go with 1 point and 1 point, and here you can have the increased minion damage as well, but we want more active spells first. So here we come over the Blight, we go here, and we also take the minion damage. And we take back the minion damage, so now your minions deal at least 20% more damage. Then we get another active spell. Corpse Explosion is actually really nice as well, as we deal damage to enemy. So here we can go with a Corpse Explosion passive as well, and this will allow us to, provide more damage, especially to debuff enemies. One thing to notice here is at this moment you have a choice. Do you want your minions to do damage or do you want yourself to do damage? For me, I kind of want the minion to do all the work as I leveling up, right? So I go with the skeletons. As I get more skeletons, my active spells opens up. So at level 12, corruption opens up. I'll go with the Decrypify just because it also have the ability to give me the instant killing with the minions. Now I do think that during the beta we can only have I think certain amount of skill slots because we have summons. So we have probably 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Together with the summons we might be out of active spell slots. So keep that in mind. Now as we come over to the summoning section, we can go with the Bone Spirit. I kind of like the Bone Spirit, but keep in mind you also have the Skeleton Mages. So if you go with your minions, this will do most of the work. And at this point, make sure you also perk the Skeleton Warriors. So level 19 here. Coming over here, I want to perk into Bone Spirit, and then we go with the passives. That with the critical, you also reset the spell by 6 seconds. At this moment, you may be having too many active spells. And this is when, if you're not doing Corpse Explosion a lot, you can take this away. So here, make sure we put some points into Polite, so before it takes those away, otherwise the whole thing will crash down on us. I actually was like a little shocked on this one. So as we get more active spells, you might not have the active spell slots, so you'll be juggling your spells around. And finally, we can go with another point and do something else. So let's say we can increase the damage to the cursed enemies. Not the biggest deal, but we can still perk into this. And then of course we come over to the Army of the Dead and finish this off to level 27. And of course we can find some more passives over here that can give us some minion attack speed and other benefit buffs. And I do think this will be okay for the Necromancer. Of course the movements, the perks will be a little different, depends on how you pick them. And let's have a look at our active spells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 active spells. And that means one of the spells might not be that useful, simply because you might have 2 summons at least. You might even have 3 with the golems, right? So keep that in mind. You might be resetting one of your spells after. So the goal is to get more active spells at the start, then we'll reset those for more minion damage. Of course, if you're going with a different build, it also works. I'll give you guys the other builds for the Necromancer as well in the links. Now coming over to the Barbarian, you can see that I'll be going to Frenzy, we'll be going to Whirlwind, and also we'll be going into a bit of the Rallying Cry for the movement speed and also bonus resource. After that, we can go into the Leap for more mobility, and then go into Steel Grips for grouping enemies. And finally, we can finish off with Wrath of Berserker. So the Barbarian is going to be quite straightforward. And let's get into our choices of the skills. There's a lot of skill trees I opened up. Let's open a new one and let's have a look. So 1 point into Frenzy and also 1 point over here. Now active spells, we want those very quickly. Let's get this, and also make sure you get the Whirlwind increased damage over time. You can go with slashing weapons if you have that for some bleeding damage as well. So this is a choice depending on your weapon, of course. So let's get a little more points over here. We can have damage reduction, and you don't have Berserking at the start, so you can go with damage reduction or you can go with more points into Whirlwind. And let's go over here. Now I really like Rallying Cry because movement speed is going to be essential. So Unstoppable, and also we'll be getting more Fury. So the more Fury we get, the more Whirlwind will do. So let's perk up Whirlwind, and this takes us into Brawl. So let's get the Leap. We get the Leap reduction to cooldown, and finally we get additional Fury with Leap. Now we just need 2 more points. So we come back over here, we can perk this up, and we can perk this up. I can go with a Berserk, because we get Berserk eventually, right? So here we have Weapon Mastery. We go with Steel Grasp, and we can go with Steel Grasp, make enemies vulnerable, and also give us additional charge. Finally, there are some really good perks here like Pit Fighter. We can perk though to the nose, and also we can perk into the... which one do we want? We can go with this too. I know it's a little more, so we can reduce the Pit Fighter to get into other perks as well. It really depends. I want a little more vulnerability, especially with the Steel Grips. Now we can come back over here and finish off with Wrath of Berserker. And this should take us to 27 points. And finally we can perk into this more, into the vulnerability, because how we play is we're going to start with jumping into enemies with Leap and Steel Grips, grouping enemies together, and then they will be vulnerable, and then you deal more damage, right? But if they're already vulnerable with other sources, you can go with more Pit Fighter. So this is a choice as well. Just make sure when you change it, everything else changes, right? Just over here. Now finally coming over to the Druid. For the level 28 Druid, I'll go into Claw and also I'll go with Shred. So I want to go with a Werewolf melee Druid for the highest best damage of critical hit and also critical chance at the start of the game. And of course we want to get a boost of the critical chance with the passive over here, and also Brimland's movement speed as you shapeshift. So here I'll go with Blood Hole, and also here I will go with Val Creeper. And finally we'll go with Rubies for a bit of AoE damage that's spreading, and also Lactate Rate, which allows us to hit multiple times. Of course, this I think will be the most straightforward leveling up method. If you do want a casting Druid, we also have a very strong PvP Druid with Earth Spell and also Overpower and also Crushing Blow. So I have that highlighted for you guys as well for the alternative. So what we do is let's come over to a new spreadsheet. So I'll start everything with you guys again and let's go over everything. Now starting with the Druid, we go with 1 point into Claw and also 1 point into Enchantment Claw. And this gives us a bit of attack speed. Shred will be the major skill focus for my leveling up for the Druid. And here I'll just go with anything that provides us with more critical chance and also critical damage. At this moment, we need a little more points for the next part, right? 1 more point. So I can go with the passive. You can go with attacking twice or you can go with poison. Ideally, I do want to have multiple hits for more resource. So coming over to defense, you go with Blood Hole because this heals us and also this lowers cooldown and also gives us more attack speed. So we're like a berserker werewolf. Now next part we need 2 more points. So coming over to Shred, we go with 2 more points. And this will take us to the section. I want Vile Creeper because this will be a big boost of critical chance against enemies who are strangled by 20% critical chance. So you can see the critical chance start to go up. So let's finish off with Shred, and this takes us into Wrath. So as to Wrath, we go for Rabbies, and this just enters the shapeshift mode, and we can go Rabbies spreads faster. I'm not going for the poison damage instead, and what we can do is you can test the poison damage. This might be better, so just keep that in mind, because there's a lot of changes to the tree since I last did it. At this moment, you come back over here, make sure you go with critical chance and also movement speed. So by 25, 24, you get the critical chance and also movement speed for the werewolf that is. And coming over to Lactate Rate to give us the final ultimate. Will be levels 27, right? And then we'll finish off by coming back over here for more movement speed. Ideally, you'll focus on crit and also critical chance and also critical damage. But if this is not to your liking, we do have the mage build as well. And similarly, you go with a similar method for the mage build. I'll have the link for you guys as well. Now, hopefully you guys found it helpful. What I'll do is I'll give you guys as many beta variations as you can. As long as you know my method, how we get as many active spells as we can, then we can keep getting them. And keep in mind guys, it's okay to try a different variation. You can always reset with gold. It's much cheaper to reset in the early game because you have less skill points. And the beta is for you to test, right? So don't be afraid to reset, don't be afraid to try. And if you have a better build that's faster with leveling and also with farming, let me know as well. And we can share with everyone. And once we have more testing, I'll give you guys a better build after the beta for the first week of beta. So once everything's tested, we have even more precision with the builds. Now before you go, and if you guys didn't know, we have a new YouTube channel. So I just started a YouTube channel with my girlfriend yesterday, and you can see this is only 12 hours old, this YouTube channel. And if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and check out the behind the scenes and also fun clips and also more stories about us. And then you get to know me a little more personally instead of just reading the news and also the games, right? So I want to share a little bit more with you guys. So make sure you check this channel out if you're interested about Matt and also Uni. She's really funny too, and she's really shy. So I want to give her a surprise and do a shout out for the new channel to get some subscribers. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time.